there are so many sharks being jumped so many times that it becomes cool. It's like being at SeaWorld.
You're still listening. This is our final transmission.
Here, it's the Final Transmission podcast. Welcome. It's time to talk about horror movies once a week from the dawn of time to the end of the times. I'm Sam Russo, and with me as always is Jamie Carruthers.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing, Jamie?
I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing good. We waffled for ages about Iron Maiden over on our pre-show Patreon chat, which you can get at patreon.com/Final Transmission for just £5 a month in video form. You can hear us talk about all kinds of stupid things.
You can, and I look ridiculous, and that's fine. It's an interesting time in horror movies right now, Jamie, don't you think?
Yeah. What's prompted that?
I just think it's a really good time to engage with a podcast on the subject, and I think today we're really going to make a splash in horror discourse.
I don't think I have anything groundbreaking to say about this movie.
Which movie?
So this week we're talking about The Blob from 1988, the remake of The Blob. Did you know that in Italy this movie was called Il fluido che uccidi? What do you think that means?
The pink liquid?
It means the fluid that kills.
The fluid that kills?
In Spain, it's called El Terra no tiene forma. What do you think that means?
One more time.
El Terra no tiene forma.
You've got no chance. It's coming for you.
It's Terra has no shape.
Terra has no shape.
Can you guess what it was called in Germany?
Das Blob.
It's Der Blob.
Der Blob. Very good, Germany. I'm surprised that the real poetic flourish from the Spanish there. A nice little spin from the Italians, and Der Blob from our Deutsch friends.
Yeah. No nonsense, Deutschies.
Willkommen auf Der Blob.
Welcome to the Blob.
Yes. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, I think the Italian title is great. The fluid that kills.
The fluid that kills. Any other fluids that kill that you're a big fan of?
Alcohol.
Huge fan. Massive fan.
Yeah. Heroin.
Liquid nitrogen.
I've never engaged with liquid nitrogen, you know. I've never seen it. I've never touched it. I've never dipped a rose into it and then watched it smash on the table.
Never doused a man in it and then kicked him in the head and had him explode.
No.
Never killed a Terminator with it, only to have him come back and ruin your day.
Yeah, not done that.
Fucking love the idea of liquid nitrogen in a movie setting. I think it's a really cool thing. We don't see it enough.
Yeah.
Liquid nitrogen would have sent off the Blob.
It would have, but so did normal ice. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Spoiler, but that's what happens at the end of this film. We're 2 minutes in.
So, The Blob is directed by Chuck Russell.
Mm-hmm.
He directed, I'm going to say, one of your least favourite films and one of your most favourite films.
The Mask, one of my most favourite.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against the Scorpion King, so I'm going with A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors as somewhere near the least.
Yeah, I think that's what I would pick for those. I love Dream Warriors, you know that.
I don't hate it. I just can't get on board with it. I just don't like it.
I think there are so many sharks being jumped so many times that it becomes cool. It's like being at SeaWorld. Like,
they cancel each other out. If you jump enough sharks at once, it's a zero-sum game.
Literally, like, if jumping a shark is so bad, then why was Evel Knievel so great? Like,
what about what do you think of his work in the Arnold Schwarzenegger romp Eraser?
I think Eraser is pretty good. That's probably, I think, Schwarzenegger's last good film.
Really?
Yeah.
You think he peaked in 96?
Yeah, maybe his last good action film, but yeah. Like, what's Schwarzenegger done for me lately?
Lately, you weren't into any of those like I don't even know what you'd call them. Like the ones where he teamed up with all his old buddies and did the whole like, wow, we're action guys again. What were they called?
The Expendables. I didn't even know that he was in those.
He's probably not.
I know
so much I know.
that was Stallone. I'm sure that he pops up because, like, you know, everybody loves money.
Must do, yeah.
He's got to give up Marie Shriver all that alimony, right? So like,
who'd win in a fight, the Blob or the T-1000?
The Blob.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
How?
Because the Blob is all consuming.
Not all. Can't consume that ice.
Well, neither can the T-1000. So
the T-1000 can slice and dice him.
But like, slicing and dicing doesn't do anything.
We'll see.
You just have thousands of blobs.
Could the Blob dissolve the liquid metal, do you think?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So we've answered the age-old question: who would win between the T-1000 and the Blob?
Who'd win between the Mask and the Blob?
The Mask.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why?
Because the Mask can do anything. He's the big head killer. That's what the Mask is called when he's the Mask. He can do anything. That's from the comics. He can do anything. He is basically a cartoon character, and a cartoon character can
hit himself in the head with a hammer and go awooga at the Blob.
But he does loads of other stuff. He turns a fucking balloon animal into a Tommy gun.
True, he does. God, that's a good film.
I don't know if it is a good film, but I love it.
Shut up at your face. The Mask's quality.
But yeah, so
not as good as The Fluid That Kills.
we're in The Blob. It stars Johnny Drama himself, Kevin Dillon, Shawnee Smith, the worst actress to ever have a career.
Like, really?
Yeah. We've also got Jeff DeMunn. We've got Jack Nance in there. Del Close as the priest. He's like basically the godfather of improv comedy. He basically invented improv comedy in its current form.
You got Joe Seneca in there.
Yeah.
And your boy, for a split second of a hairpin, Bill Moseley.
Yeah, Billy Moseley, your mate. Post Chop Top.
Yeah,
which is it's weird for him to have such a small role, I think. But like,
just a big Blob fan, do you think? Big Blobster?
Maybe, or just like maybe he just knows these guys. But he's good in this as well, I think. Like he's sort of doing a similar thing to his role at the start of Night of the Living Dead remake from 1990 that we covered way, way, way back.
Yeah.
The Tom Savino.
Popping in for the setup.
Yeah, just like popping in for a little bit and being really good in a super specific way.
A lot of I'm spending a lot of time with Jeffrey DeMunn at the moment because I'm listening to the Dreamcatcher audiobook, which he reads, which is incredibly long. So when he popped in, I was a bit like, oh, fucking hell. But good old Jeffrey Munn.
I mean, he doesn't pop in for very long.
No, true.
He pops in.
There's a lot
he
of
pops out.
Too thick, too fast cameos in this. That's the wrong expression. There's a lot of cameos in this that are just far too brief.
Yeah, I don't even think they're meant to be cameos. I think this movie just moves at such a clip.
Yeah, she's
that like, there's no way to like, besides your main couple, your main two characters, Brian Flagg, Stephen King reference, and Shawnee Smith's character, especially when it's written by Frank Darabont.
Your boy.
He was very obviously big in King adaptations world. But like, there's also a bunch of like Twin Peaksy people in this. Well, at least two.
Who's the two? You obviously got Nance.
Yeah, so Frank Collison is in The Return.
Oh shit, yeah, you're right. Which I'm watching as we speak.
You should be fucking focusing on the podcast, mate.
I am. I'm doing a Jamie. I've got 3 films on. I'm watching the Olympic hockey. I've got Frank Collinson's IMDb open. I'm listening to my audiobook. I'm drinking a wine. I'm eating something you'd eat, noodles, and
I'm
massaging my prostate. Typical Wednesday for Jamie.
Yeah, this is a movie that I have seen many times. I own it in multiple formats.
Oh, right.
Including VHS and novelization.
I'm going to guess you watched this on VHS.
Yes.
I'll be a crime not to. Well done. Yeah. How did that feel? Describe the atmosphere. I bet it was lovely.
Spoiler alert for my review of this movie, but I fucking love it. And this is one like a perfect movie to watch on VHS.
It really is. What's your case like?
It's pretty excellent, you know.
Oh, it's that beauty.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. For those of you who are listening, Jamie's holding up a VHS copy of The Blob, which is blue plastic clamshell. with the kind of iconic revisionist Blob writing on the front, and then we've got Melty Man, hands up pose, and on the back I'm guessing some good gore. A lot of these VHSs had like gore giveaways. Yep, some golden gore on the back, ladies and gents. Enjoy yourselves watching The Blob on VHS. Jamie, what did it feel like?
It felt amazing. Like it's the perfect movie to watch on VHS because like I've seen this in HD. I've seen like a Blu-ray version of this because I also own that, and I love it on Blu-ray. I think it looks great. I like how bad some of the effects look, some of the compositing of the Blob looks. I almost think that that's like a choice, like a kind of like a reference to the 50s version, but like watching it on video, it just feels like I'm home. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like I'm experiencing it the way that I'm meant to be experiencing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's 88, so it's probably... I don't really know anything about this stuff, but it's made to be out on VHS, right? It's obviously made for theatres and cinemas or whatever, but it feels like a movie to be watched on not an enormous screen, you know, a pixel-appropriate screen with a nice fucking rear projection telly and a clunky old VHS. It just feels like one of those.
Yeah. Had you seen this before?
Yeah.
Tell us about your memories of it.
No. I saw this. I don't know exactly when, but I must have been it may have been like 96, 97 around that time. I was having spending a lot of time at my grandparents' house, and we would rent films on a Friday or a Saturday night from TVL All Star Video in Haverhill, and we would watch them usually just like with some food. So I've got lots of like sense associated memories of watching these movies. Normally fish and chips, but it's such an important little period in your life when you're sort of forming your identity, that I remember all of these sensory details, like getting in my granddad's like beaten up knackered old van and going and getting fish and chips, and then and he would give me a hard time. We'd have to go all the way to Haverhill to get the VHS, or one of two different places, and then get home and watch it. And 9 times out of 10, they were just absolute crap at gauging what was going to be too scary for me and what wasn't. They didn't believe in the rating system. My grandparents were just like, for some reason, rebelling against the age rating system. So they just look at the box and ask the person at the counter, who obviously had my best interest in heart and wanted me to watch the scariest shit on planet Earth. Yeah. And then, I'd get away with renting some absolute rippers, and we'd get home and watch it. So I remember like laying on my belly, watching this in the living room and completely shitting my pants, and hearing lots of comments from my grandparents about how it was far too scary for me and we should have watched the original.
When was the last time you watched the original?
Not that long ago, maybe 3 years ago, I would say I watched the original again. I don't think it holds up. You don't think it holds up?
Not really.
I mean, it is a classic, and it is a lot of fun to watch, but the pitching is very strange. I think to a modern audience, even people like us who were born in the 80s and have watched shit from forever ago, we'll sit and watch, stuff from the 20s and 30s, but the comedy is odd. The whole kind of tone is strange. Steve McQueen's acting is pretty like kind of ahead of the pack in terms of like the rest of the cast potentially, but he's also like too old for the role, really, in a way. It's all quite strange,
Steve McQueen he's definitely too old for the role generally, but he also didn't really age from like that part of his career until like his career ended. So like he could have been 65 in The Blob. He wasn't, but like he could have been. Do you know what I mean?
But it was his breakout role, wasn't it? But he was still in his late 20s, maybe 27.
Yeah, like he was definitely too old, but he also just continued to look like that until he died, I think.
Yeah, a bit of a Paul Newman thing going on. Like those guys looked absolutely gorgeous their whole lives, and they aged very gracefully, but they had like a timelessness.
Unfortunately, Steve McQueen doesn't sell me ranch dressing.
What would Steve McQueen have sold had he the wherewithal to start a business?
That's a really good question. I think it would have been racing gloves.
Ooh, nice. Leather gloves.
Yeah.
Driving gloves.
Yeah. Driving gloves is the right word.
No, I like racing gloves.
Yeah? Which one will win? Righty or lefty? Who knows?
Usually righty.
My overarching memory of this from being a kid, because it's been, I think, maybe 8 years since I last watched it, is how mean this movie is. How it doesn't pull any punches.
I almost feel naive sort of not realizing it was going to be so mean. But I guess because the original is, I don't want to say twee, but very of its time, you think it is a bit of a leap to take that source material and turn it into a melt fest and make it really fucking nasty. And make it more of a social, well, not more of a social commentary necessarily, but kind of carry on that social commentary in an 80s context. And then when you put it on and it just has like a, for me, and again, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it has quite a sophisticated look in terms of, it doesn't feel low budget, it isn't for the time, but everything feels appropriately framed and really well paced and just like well made, I think is what I'm looking for here. So you don't expect that nastiness to creep in, the nastiness of like the gutter end of Stephen King's style narrative and dialogue and stuff like that. You don't really see it coming. So when it does, it's quite a sharp little dig in the ribs.
Yeah, I think also like the most recent thing that we've engaged with that has a similar feeling to The Blob is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And that obviously doesn't, like, that sort of takes the premise of The Blob and then The Blob is clowns. So like you sort of think, or I sort of thought going into this, like I remember how mean it is and I remember that it doesn't fuck around and it absolutely kills a bunch of children.
Yeah.
But like being kind of shocked by it, even on this watch, because the last thing that I watched that had basically the same opening scenes.
Yeah.
What happens after that is it's clowns.
Yeah.
And this isn't clowns. This is a gelatinous blob.
It ain't clowning around. It comes. It starts exactly as it means to go on. I think it establishes all its characters quite quickly. Tonally, it's set from the start. But a little bit later on, I think we should talk about the interesting structure of the film, because I do think you kind of alluded to it earlier, talking about the quickness and the rate at which the hits keep coming. I think there's some pretty clever decisions plotting wise in this that kind of mirror the original, but that doesn't always work. You can't take the structure of an ancient black and white movie that was kind of designed to just be in and out of theaters that somehow became a classic and then turn it, transpose that timing into something more modern. So I think there's a lot that they kind of swing for the fences with this movie. I don't think it's just a fast cash in, knock it out type movie at all.
Yeah, I think that like obviously this was made off the back of, or maybe not off the back of, but as part of that cycle of The Thing and also The Fly. And presumably there are a bunch of other remakes that came out around that time that just haven't endured. You would assume there can't just be three.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is like late 80s studios are behaving in that way, aren't they? Things are coming in packs. If one person has a good idea, someone else races them to get it over the line. And there's probably an interesting story or two there that.
There was a bunch more that came out in the 90s, but like in the 80s, obviously. There was the only ones that I can think of are those three, and presumably there are more. This doesn't feel like The Fly and The Thing to me. This feels much trashier.
Yeah, it's a funny mixture of feeling disposable but having a really hard impact. It's kind of pulpy, I guess.
Yeah.
There's no one in this that you love. There's no characters that you really latch onto, but that's not in any way. I'm not saying that as like a criticism, because for me, I don't want to fall in love with these characters and then just have them get melted left, right, and center. I'd much rather have shallow characters that I loosely have a concern for and then watch them get devoured. And I think that's a clever decision, because you could go all, The Mist on this and try and have every character be really important and try and have an arc and a backstory, and then end up, ultimately killing them all too. Spoilers for The Mist. But I think this is really well pitched. Chuck Russell, eh?
Like, he's not David Cronenberg. He's not John Carpenter. He's Chuck Russell, and that's perfectly fine.
He's bringing big Chuck Russell energy.
I feel like he likes an unlikely hero.
Yeah, or even like an unlikable hero.
Yeah, I mean, well, the characters in Dream Warriors, I wouldn't say are unlikable.
I would.
Yeah, that's fair. And obviously The Mask. I don't know if Stanley Ipkiss, I don't know if any character that Jim Carrey played could be considered unlikable.
No, you're right. I would say lovable, almost.
Yeah, but unlikely as a hero. especially when he's
Yeah.
also kind of the villain.
Definitely, yeah. An unlikely hero personified is
Yeah.
young Stanley.
I do love The Mask. It is so good.
It's a great movie. Does the second one hold up? I can't remember if the second one's any good. It does not
Yes,
hold up.
yes, it does. Watch it immediately.
Jamie's shaking his head while saying, yes, it does. What about Eraser from the movie Eraser? Is he an unlikely hero?
Yeah, isn't he like a scientist of some kind? No, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
The Scorpion King. I don't know. I've not seen The Scorpion King. Or if I have,
you not?
I've blanked it out.
I think you'd like it.
I might. I didn't. I'm not really a fan of the Mummies.
Nah, me neither. What have you got against Shawnee Smith then?
I just don't think she's very good at acting. I think she can scream really good. But like, I think there's something about her general affect and her general speaking voice that sounds like bad acting to me. It sounds like the noise of bad acting.
That's interesting. I'm surprised that you pick her specifically to level that at, given some of the absolute steaming trash heap actors in the past that you've swore blind are incredible.
Well, I think that the people that I've said are good, there are lots of actors that I've said, like, in the context of this movie, I thought they were good or whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't continue to get work. They're not still getting work on Saw sequels fucking 40 years later.
Oh, I couldn't... I would go as far as to say I despise her character in Saw. Not just... And for years I wrestled with whether it was because of her acting, like specifically her delivery, what you're talking about, or if it's the idea of the character, the way it's presented. Like, the whole device / idea / portrayal of that character to me sucks. Don't know why.
I think, I mean, let's not get too deep into spoilers for Saw, but I think like the idea of somebody going through like a John Kramer trap and coming out the other side of it being like, okay, yeah, I understand what you were going for, and I'm going to come along with you, is a cool idea. But I just don't need 10 more movies of it. Do you know what I mean?
No, not at all. Do you know what I need that as? I need that as like almost an anecdote. Like maybe if he'd like turned to the camera at one point and was like, a little girl survived and I taught her how to kill and now she's not here. That'd be fine. That'd be absolutely fine.
I didn't know you had a fucking John Kramer impression just wedged in your back
I
pocket.
started talking. That's my everyone impression though. That's my gruff old man impression.
I guess even a stop clock is John Kramer on a podcast eventually. Synopsis, Sam, and then we'll take a break and we'll come back and get into it. How about that?
Yeah, sounds great.
Since I've got the VHS here, I'm gonna do it from the back of the VHS.
Do it. Hit me.
The Blob, a malignant, viscous, vicious life form from outer space, is back, but this time, with Chuck Russell's direction, it is meaner, faster, more menacing, and much, much bigger. The Blob has crashed to Earth to ooze around the streets and sewers of Arborville, swallowing the townspeople and leaving a trail of stomach-churning carnage. Prepare yourselves, if you have the stomach, to be blob-smacked.
That is shite. That is such a bad VHS blurb. All of that's bad. That's like nobody proofread that.
Do you want the quotes on the back here? A first-class horror treat. Bizarre rating. You'll be glued. That's from The Sun. That's
also not good. The Sun. Glued? It's a blob.
This film is quite simply one of the most smashing films in the entire universe. Smash hits.
Oh, I knew it. I miss there being like Jonathan Ross quotes on VHSs.
Yeah. Do you remember that Jonathan Ross advert for Evil Dead 2 where he's watching it in a cinema with Sam Raimi? It's fucking so good.
That is really good.
All right. Do you want to give a better synopsis?
No. It's a classic. Meteor comes down from space. It's a blob. But is it? But what's really happening? That's the plot.
Yeah. It's a classic Blob meets ground story. Anyway, Sam, let's take a break.
Let's have a little break, shall we?
Let's have a break.
Whoa, holy shit.
I guess that's why they call it Phantom Power.
I'm back, Sam. Are you back?
Wow, I am back. Thank you for welcoming me back.
It's okay. Tell me about how you feel about the film about the Blob.
How I feel about the film about the Blob. I haven't seen that film. I thought that's what we were making right now. Pretty good. I just think, as far as movies that create exactly what we were talking about before, the feeling of a home video classic, this is great. I really think it ticks so many boxes. It's the things that I think are clever about it can really easily be summed up. So I'll save you the agony of waiting. There's lots of good blob kills. So many great practical effects. So many lovingly created, melty, graphic, gory, kind of boundary-pushing, melty deaths. Plus, like some descriptions of those deaths, some conversation about those deaths that's great. Some really strong dialogue. A really great plot spur in the middle of the movie where the scientists show up.
Yeah,
I think
that sort of that kind of macaroni turn of like we were running out of steam with this sort of Rebel with a Heart of Gold story. So to make it interesting, here is a new thing.
Yeah, it's so perfectly timed because you are just starting to go like, fucking, where's this going? But you're not quite out yet. You're still wondering. And then wham, the trucks show up and you got guys in hazmat suits and everything starts getting real and everything gets way bigger. The movie's sort of like at the point where it could go insular and have you trapped in a building or you know, something like fight your way out of the sewers or whatever. It just goes massive. And it's such a great decision, I think. And everything from that moment on is basically an action horror. So it's a full pivot, a full genre pivot, and it doesn't alienate. It feels like a really sort of wise and well-planned move. And I really enjoy that. That really does keep me pinned into my seat. So
I think it pivots.
The movie does a great job.
I think it pivots earlier than that as well because it starts off and it's quite funny. We're having like a small town, goofy sort of sex comedy almost. And then when the Blob hits for the first time, when the can man runs out of the woods with the Blob on his hand, frantically chopping at it with an axe, it suddenly stops being funny.
Yeah, that's true. There's not really any more gags from then on, and these are good like 80s teen comedy gags about condoms and, you know, fucking people's daughters and all that good stuff. And you're right, it just kind of ratchets straight up, pivots quite hard. And becomes very gory and very graphic. Like a guy trying to chop off his own hand in the woods, screaming, running around with an alien blob on it is a great way to get people's attention.
I love in that scene that like the Blob wants to eat the blood. So he chops a bit of his hand and the Blob is like, well, I'm having that. Just moves up a little bit.
Nuts. Yeah.
I love it. It's great. I'm going to be maybe a little bit hyperbolic now, Sam.
You're going to say this is the best Blob movie ever.
I mean, it's definitely the best Blob movie ever. I think it's basically a perfect example of this exact type of film. I think there is no way to do this movie better. Sort of trashy 80s, shot well, funny when it can be, horrible when it wants to be, interesting when it needs to be. Like it does everything so well that like
I totally hear what you're saying. It's basically like a boilerplate movie in that way. I think if we're trying to look at it objectively, I'd be very inclined to agree. I think it's really personal preference stuff that falls to the viewer that you think you could improve it with, and normally it's, you know, not structural. It's more like casting and stuff that you can have an opinion about, you know. But yeah, I think there's an enormous amount of this film that feels written to type in a way, you know, sort of made to genre. Obviously, it's a remake, we know that, but still envelope is pushed. Like it's not fucking around in
they kill kids.
Yeah, they kill quite a lot of kids. Yeah,
and we see it, and it's really violent and horrible.
Yeah, and every single, you know, horror scene or gore scene is pretty much top shelf. Yeah. There's no kills in this where I'm like, meh, that was fine. They're all great.
The only kill that I think is lackluster, and it's because it happens off screen, and it happens off screen, so they can punctuate kind of a gag, but not really a gag, like a gore gag with it, which is Jeffrey DeMunn's death. It's not my favorite, but like his head sort of floating into view.
Yeah.
When the diner gal is on the phone to the cops, being like, "Where's Herb?"
Yeah.
That's great.
It's really scary to me because it's that whole, the absorption, the way the Blob is absorbing all these people and they're all in there. That's what makes the Blob so gnarly, is that, it's like this big sort of semi-smooth looking thing that moves quite quickly and dissolves stuff, but it also is holding people. It's digesting people. It's full of your town. Like, all the people in your town are in there. I love that. And it's a great device to have his face just wipe slowly along that glass. And I like that kill, and it did make me think of exactly what you're talking about. Like, this movie wouldn't be complete without a snap in half, drag through kill. It wouldn't be complete without specific types of melt. It wouldn't be complete without punctuation of jeopardy that kind of matches the original but ratchets it up.
It definitely wouldn't be complete without a guy going on fire and running around the street for a bit, like every single one of these movies.
Yeah.
I just think that, like, in terms of like video shop horror movies, this is like basically as good as you're gonna get.
I totally agree.
There are better horror movies. There are video shop horror movies that are nearly as good. Mm-hmm. Maybe some people would argue what a video shop horror movie is.
Yeah.
But like, just because you checked Nightmare on Elm Street out of the video shop doesn't make it a video shop horror movie, because that was in the cinemas, and that's like, Whereas this might have been in the cinemas for a bit, but it definitely did all of its work in the video shop.
I couldn't agree more. And I think, I'm wondering what this is on a shelf with in the video shop to you. What do you put it next to in terms of like comparable quality, experience, fun?
I mean, I think we've already mentioned it once, but Killer Clowns.
Yeah.
I mean, not just because the opening scenes are basically identical.
You could double bill these really happily, right? Killer Clowns first, big bowl of popcorn, move seamlessly into the Blob.
Spew it all up after the Blob. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Big bowl of jelly. I know you hate it, but House.
That works. Yeah.
Critters. Not Critters. Ghoulies.
Ghoulies. Yeah, nice. I mean, Critters is kind of in this vein for me.
Yeah, but Ghoulies is
Not
the
as
best.
good.
Is the video shop Critters. I think Critters again was a cinema movie for a lot.
Really, because I've got Critters as the Critters was always really prominently displayed at the video shop for me. Right. It was a real. I mean, all of them as they came out, like they were always there. God, the horror section at TVL was so fucking off the chain. It was massive, absolutely massive. I
just really missed the video shop.
Yeah, me too. Well, I don't have to really miss it. I'm probably going to go on Friday, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's different now, right? Though
it is very different. It's primarily a UPS
post office
drop off and photocopy. But it's not, but that's the thing. That is all behind the counter. The entire shop is exactly what it was always. There's nothing. No space in that shop has been taken up by anything other than, obviously, it's DVDs and Blu-rays now. But it's exactly the same layout, same sections, same everything. It's bonkers.
You gotta respect it.
You gotta.
Just like that wrap of tape on Brian's jeans that's there for some reason. You've got to respect it.
You've got to. I assume that's a fix of some kind. I don't know.
Yeah, I love A Rebel with a Heart of Gold, and we're in spoilers now, so I love the idea that, like, I mean, obviously I'm going to love this, and this isn't going to surprise anybody listening to this that's listened to me say anything ever before, but like the idea that like the only person that can bring down a shady government agency and their nefarious plan is a guy that has an inherent distrust of authority. Yeah, it's just perfect.
Yeah, it really works. It makes a huge amount of sense in the sort of revisionist timeline of this compared to the original Blob. Like, it's a really nice tracking from the original to here. He's way less likable than Steve McQueen, I think. I think Kevin Dillon, like, I'm not going to say anything about his appearance or anything like that, but he's a real tough pill to swallow in terms of
I could say something about his appearance. I think he looks like Rocky Dennis. He looks like Eric Stoltz as Rocky Dennis in that movie. Mask. I have strong opinions about Shawnee Smith and her performance, and I think that Johnny Drama's performance, Kevin Dillon's performance, is really bad.
Yeah.
But I do think that they're perfect for this movie somehow.
Yeah, they fit the... I mean, listen, you'd love a good performance here, but we don't get it, and you're right, we're used to it, and it is trash, and it does really fill the trash compactor, if you know what I mean. Like, it does the job.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I think it, like you say, if it was Paul Giamatti and Toni Collette, like, it would feel very different.
Yeah.
Like, they would also, because everybody else is a character actor, and maybe even it's hard for teenagers to be character actors, but they're sort of
40-year-old teenagers
in the character actor version of being a teenager.
Yeah.
You just get a very specific kind of performance, and like Jeffrey DeMunn is always good.
Yep.
Like everybody in this movie is all of the character actors that appear in this movie are good, even when they're being over the top and like not good. Like your man from RoboCop, Mel T. RoboCop man.
Yeah, Paul McCrane. And you'd expect a hardcore melt from him in this, because he delivers the most hardcore, possibly the most hardcore melt of all time in RoboCop.
I don't think that's the most hardcore melt of all time. We've already talked about the most hardcore melt of all time, which is the toilet melt from Street Trash.
Yeah, that is pretty next level. I guess the RoboCop melt is more rad.
It's more good.
Yeah, it's way better. Yeah,
it's like the hardcoreness of the melt in Street Trash, the specific melt that we're talking about. It's hardcore because that movie is so rough and hardcore.
And it's acted so weirdly that it makes it even more hardcore somehow.
And everything's all neon and
yeah,
sputumy. It's
facial expressions while he's drinking the whatever it's called. Get the fuck out of here, man.
The Tenafly Viper.
That's it. Yeah.
I nearly called it 2,4,5 trioxin. Imagine egg on my fucking face.
You'd be laughed out of town. God, we really, really are nailing our colours to the nerd mast this evening, aren't we?
This town, Arborville,
yep,
in California, I think it's a good town. I believe it as a town. It doesn't matter that 50% of the town are Southern.
Yeah, shot in Louisiana, I think, right?
Yeah.
Slightly strange. No, doesn't seem to matter. I do buy the town. I really believe the town, especially all the exterior stuff. A great little chunk of scene setting right at the beginning that doesn't go too deep. We don't need like to meet the mayor and find out about all that. You know, we just get us in there. Just tell me this is a town and get me going.
I think the really clever thing that they do in that opening scene with the football match is they have all the characters just in the background. So you see them, and when they come back later, you're like, yeah, you live in the town, you're at the football game.
Yeah,
like
I'm convinced.
It's really clever. They don't do anything. They're not there to serve any kind of narrative purpose. It's just to cement this as a place. It's like the football game in the town is the only thing that's happening.
Yeah.
So obviously everybody's there.
It's a great device for introducing the cast of a small town, right? Anything communal that unites the town. And then you've got the one guy who's not there, and that tells you everything you need to know. I think it's a very clever way to give us an idea of what's going on here. And also to give us a sense of the gravity of what we stand to lose. We know the Blob's coming, right? So, if this was like a really misanthropic, nihilistic 80s city movie, we wouldn't give a fuck. But we care about the town inherently because we're told this community is important in some way.
Yeah, like think about Alligator when we watched that. I mean, it's cool, but like the alligator basically only kills the bad people because everybody in the city is a villain.
Yeah, everyone sucks.
Apart from the snarky cop at the center of it all. So like,
it's that is a monster movie, obviously, and so is the Blob. And one thing that I really enjoy about a lot of monster movies is when there isn't a target really. The monster isn't like, I'm going to get only that guy, or like, I'm going to just eat bad guys. Like, they're just causing disruption. Destruction.
I mean, destruction is disruptive.
Somewhat disruptive, yeah. They're just on an absolute rampage. And there's an element of luck and sort of wits to surviving in a monster movie, and I quite enjoy those stakes. Because you can be the toughest, like the crazy survivalist, arm to the teeth guy, and the blob will dissolve you in like 2 seconds. Or you could be a frightened child in an alley cradling a newborn kitten, and you could somehow escape. Like there's, it doesn't really matter what you bring to the table. It's wiles, it's cunning, it's luck, and it's daring. And I love that when the blob shows up and people start trying to survive and everyone just gets squished.
Obviously, the first on-screen death that we see is Paul's.
Yeah.
And you kind of, I mean, we know better because we live in the future, but like you kind of think that Paul is going to be the hero of the movie.
Yeah, you think he's going to at least do something heroic. Like something's going to happen, right, with this guy?
But he doesn't. He just gets melted in a really, really graphic scene.
It's phenomenal.
I mean, I could maybe live without the pulling the arm off.
It doesn't add much. It's not as gory as I would like, kind of tacked on top, but it's still really good.
Yeah. But him, almost like a sheet ghost coming at you, but the sheet is made of blob. Like, I love that. And the blob sort of piling down on him from the ceiling. Oh, it's fucking so good.
It's great.
The effects in this movie are incredible.
Top shelf. They don't pull back at any point from an effect where movies with similar effects might be like, ooh, careful, you can see the strings, let's not linger too much. They just don't give a fuck. They're like, stare at this and see if you can figure out how we did it. Look for fucking holes. Look for whatever you want. They give us loads of time to really absorb, the blob effects, the melts, the deaths, everything. And they're not afraid to like waggle their head around for a couple of seconds, quote unquote, too long. And that's exactly what we're here for. I'm in this movie just to see that. Everything else is set dressing. I just want to see as many blob deaths as possible. And I left, fully blobbed up.
There are some janky special effects that on your 5th, 6th, 10th, 44th watch of this movie, you're like, okay, the way that they mask it is through really, really clever editing. So, like, the worst special effect in the movie, I think, is in the scene when George gets pulled headfirst into the plug hole.
Mm.
And there's a moment at the end of that where it's really bad, but you don't get to sit and think about, hey, that was bad, because there's like a beat and then something else just happens. And so the edit of that, I think it's the blob sort of jumping out of the sink and going upside down, and so like you don't get to register the badness before the next thing happens. And that's it's just really clever, being like, hey guys, we didn't really get the effect that we wanted here, so let's chop this in a way that we don't give people a chance to even, I mean, it could just be a happy accident that it came out that way, but like you don't give people a chance to even register the bad thing before you slap them with the next thing.
Yeah,
just
divert
really
quickly, send them down here. Yeah, it's classic like haunted house stuff.
Yeah.
If the skeleton that jumps out at you isn't very good, the person who makes it jump out knows, and the next thing is like whop whop, just absolutely smashes you to shit. I really like that kind of filmmaking.
I'll always maintain that the scariest thing that ever happened in a haunted house was when me and my ex-Kaz were at Horror Nights and the lights cut out in the Ghostbusters house, and when they came back on, there was just someone stood right in front of her, like this close.
Great fun.
And
love that.
It was terrifying.
In terms of how this movie manipulates fear, there is something like very monster movie happening. There's also something gore movie happening. And the whole way through, it's got a kind of, because it's the late 80s, I guess, it wants to be an action movie as well. So it has to have some action-based comedy and some action-based gore and some action-based horror. And the thrust of that is just like pulling you through in terms of like action the whole way through the movie. I think it really kind of goes at a clip, like you said earlier. And the times where there's breaks are appropriate little breathers. But you just want the blob the whole time, right? And in any monster movie, you want the monster the whole time. And what you want isn't always good for you. Like how badly you always want Godzilla. If it was all Godzilla all the time, you'd be bored shitless of Godzilla. And how well do you think this movie drip feeds the blob that you crave?
I think it does it perfectly. Like there is enough character stuff happening for you to be like, this is a real thing that is affecting people. Like you've got to have characters in order for the blob to eat the characters.
Yeah.
Like you can't just be like fixed on the blob rolling down the street, chomping down on like random passers-by.
Yeah.
So I think they balance that perfectly. There are enough kills. There are enough also like we want you to die in this specific way, and you don't get it. You get something different.
Yeah.
But then there was also plenty of like we want you to die in a specific way, and you absolutely do.
Yeah.
Or even like we don't want you to die, and then you die in the best way possible. That implosion in a phone booth, like
Yeah. So savage.
Her limbs just flying everywhere. It's incredible.
Yeah. You know, you don't necessarily expect is
Spanish Inquisition.
yeah, you literally never expect the Spanish Inquisition. Here he is. You don't expect sexual misconduct moralization in this movie. And we get it. A guy goes for a sleepy tit grab, and the girl dies. Actually, what's the moral here?
He dies. Everybody dies.
He dies too. Yeah, everybody dies. Grab a tit, everybody dies. Which I'm not expecting in a late '80s movie of this gutter, pitching.
The thing about that scene that I really enjoy is his like little bar that he has in his trunk. And
yeah, I'd forgotten all about that. Yeah.
Like, this is a super throwbacky, like, 50s style movie. Like, the town is set to be like a 50s. It's like the 50s in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, these sort of small towns that still are kind of like they're in the 50s.
Yeah.
And, like, that bar in the trunk is probably the most distant dream of the coolest 16-year-old in 1953. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's so utterly ridiculous. The idea of, like, the boot of your car is full of glass. What the fuck? And liquid. But it's really funny, and it's like you said, it's kind of ironic. I don't know what it is, but it's really clever and really funny. And it prefaces one of the most grisly inside, like, sucking inward melts that I think I've ever seen, like a vacuum packing a fucking winter coat. Just very, very cool. The whole scene's really cool, and it doesn't fall into the trap that I think a lot of Friday the 13th movies fall into, where it tries to do something funny like that and tries to be clever and stylish and then deliver a massive gore smash kill. Because in a lot of those Friday movies, all of that falls flat. It's poorly pitched, it's in bad taste, it looks gross, whatever it is, and then the gore ultimately gets cut out. Whereas this, it hits every single beat dead on. It's like, I don't know, one of those guys that can play Guitar Hero really well. That's what it's like, Jamie.
You know what? It's exactly like one of those guys that can play Guitar Hero really well. You should have written for Smash Hits.
Fuck's sake. I'm so tired. Anyway, that's a good kill. I also like the evolution of the blob in this movie, because we get to see it in a lot of different situations, in a lot of different lights, from a lot of different distances, a lot of different perspectives. And you said earlier you think some of these like bigger blob shots are maybe deliberately a little bit 50s, kind of as an homage to what these filmmakers loved about the original. And I think I would agree. You wouldn't make it that color if you wanted it to look like it was there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They obviously have the technology and the skill. So, I mean, what do you think about the deliberate choice to really tip the hat to the original effects people of the original movie?
Like, I think that's great, because there are plenty of scenes where the blob does look like it's there, presumably because it is in some smaller form.
Yeah.
Some smaller animatronic type situation. But when it's like so big that it's looming over the town or whatever, or it's rolling down the street. Yeah. Like it is so obviously composited in such a way that I feel like they looked at it and they were like, should we make this better? No, it looks like the original. Like, we could make it better, but like, this is cool. It's much cooler to do it this way. And like you mentioned earlier, I think like being able to see some of the strings, being able to see some of the artistry that they're doing behind the scenes, just sort of brings you into the film a bit more. It makes you feel a bit more like you're part of, like, because There's no point where you're like, oh, that looks really fake. I now no longer believe the blob is sucking the life out of these people.
Yeah. I don't believe... I saw the strings on the blob and I'm out. Yeah, nobody's like fucking... Oh, do you know what? I was with you right up until the point where it was bigger than a house. Now I don't believe it anymore. Like,
yeah.
I really think it endears you to the... Not just the movie itself and what's happening and the fun of it, but it really endears you to the effects work. And I think nobody, maybe not nobody, but barely anyone is watching the 1988 remake of The Blob without some kind of focus on the special effects. You know, depending on what like meta level you're focusing on. But everyone is there for that. And if you're able to kind of subtly tip your hat to the masters of old and have it fit in nicely with your movie, I think there's a huge... there's a reverence there that I respect.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think I'm so glad that the special effects in this movie are taken out of the... They've taken a leaf out of like the Rob Bottin, The Thing effects, even to the point where some of them look like they might have been reusing prosthetics from The Thing. I think they're so good. And there are plenty of grisly movies in this time that didn't have this kind of special effect. I think that like in order to sell it as like something really terrifying, to make you scared of the thing that's happening in, you know, what is inherently a ridiculous situation. This isn't like, I know that obviously the Friday the 13th movies are also ridiculous situations, but the idea of like a big man with a stabby object hiding in the woods, it's really easy to make that scary because you can always imagine that. Whereas like a gigantic gelatinous blob that like sucks your insides through your butthole, like, I mean, you can imagine it, but like you can't really imagine what the fear of that would be like.
It's not always scary, is it? Sometimes it's dumb. And sometimes it's really silly and goofy and cartoonish. But this movie has decided it's fucking terrifying, and we're going to show you why.
Yeah, like the idea of like, in a movie that has so many gags in it, like a trunk full of booze. Yeah. Like the whole sort of condom sex comedy meeting the dad section at the beginning. Yeah. For the idea that it's like, it's so genuinely funny for then to see these people in this amount of pain. Like I say, I think that like a lot of the two central performances aren't good, but those people you never have to really believe that they're in danger because they're the two leads. Whereas like Paul or like the little brother's best mate who gets turned into an absolute nightmare fuel, and like even Bill Moseley, who is, I think, is this his best performance? Like I really genuinely believe that like he is absolutely in fear of his life throughout all of the shots that he's in. Like, it's probably not his best role, I think. I know you don't love The Devil's Rejects, but I think The Devil's Rejects is his best performance. But making those death scenes so violent and scary, and then also, I mean, I don't know, I'm going to say well acted, but I don't know if there's an actor in there.
Well, like, there are in several. Like, there definitely are. Like, when the hobo guy, I think that's the scariest scene in the entire movie. You've got Jack Nance, a fairly bleak hospital. All of that feels genuinely scary to me. I think that's a really scary scene. And I think the old man kind of acts the living shit out of it for the times that it's his head, you know?
But I'm thinking of like, do you remember like those monsters in my pocket? Do you remember those?
Hell yeah. Love monsters in my pocket.
There's one of those that sort of looks like the Blob. It was sort of like a gloopy...
Yeah, and it has the mouth. It's got... Yeah, I know the exact one you mean.
So like, the scene where that's Paul, I wonder if like, if he's even in that. If there's a person in there, if that's all animatronic.
It's got to be like a head on a stick type deal.
Yeah.
But either way, like, I think you got to credit the effects department for the performance in that situation, because you know, deaths in horror movies that involve a fake face conveying any kind of fear, that I love them, so I'm always all in. Basically, that's the rule. But if you don't love them, you're just like, oh, it's a plastic face. But if the plastic face is showing fear in even a remotely convincing way, it's just such a feat. Like, I find that so impressive, and it really makes a death. Like old what's his dick when he dies in the air duct.
The projector.
Yeah,
Projectionist.
Great, like fake face. Totally a fake face, but looks incredible.
Yeah, I think that like a movie that does that badly, that I don't think is a bad movie, but like a movie that like fails on this is Return of the Living Dead, when like they're talking to like the reanimated half a woman on like the gurney table.
Yeah.
And like she's talking to, she's got the lips for one. So like, how are you even forming words?
Yeah, it's very like, I don't know what you'd call it, almost like crypt keepery, but
Yeah.
in no way endearing. It's just dumb. Like you're supposed to just say, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime a skeleton talks without lips, you've got to be like, okay, fine.
Yeah, like it should be like Metal Gear stuff, but it's not. It's like somehow they're forming words.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like one where it doesn't do it, but it's not a bad movie. It's just that scene is like, look at how cool this puppet is.
Yeah, look at this
like,
thing we can do.
It's like the movie stops for us to be like, look at this cool puppet for a bit. Whereas this movie, there's a million cool puppets.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, have a little glimpse of how cool this puppet is, but it's never like, let's stop it. Let's stop everything and just be like, cool puppet, guys.
Yeah. A lot of really good timing decisions in the movie. It's hard to convey on a podcast how well timed a lot of this stuff is. But yeah, whoever the fuck does that, like I know it's a combination of direction and editing. I just think they fucking killed it.
Yeah, no, they absolutely nailed it. I've got something that happens in this movie that I think is one of the coolest things that you could ever do. Can you guess what it is?
If we haven't already talked about it, no, I don't think I can.
Riding your motorcycle through a storm drain.
Yep, that's pretty cool. I'm going to go with, yep, very, very cool.
Yeah. And like, even like sort of using the side of the storm drain to like try and go around the blob. Obviously that's cool. But like, I love the idea of a storm drain. I wish we had storm drains that big in the UK. I would have spent my entire childhood trapped in a storm drain.
Well, for me, that kind of thing is next only to like, if we had a sequel to the '88 Blob, I would like it to be, I'd like there to be someone surfing the Blob, possibly in a storm drain, a la Turtles in Time. I'd like to see something like that.
That would be cool.
While the surfboard melts.
Yeah, like the surfboard is sort of slowly degrading.
That's the jeopardy, yeah. Or what if like we go massive and it's like a Michael Bay movie and it's Ocean of Blob and the blob is the sea and it's taken over the land. Oh, I'd love a modern sequel to the '88 Blob. I mean, if they tee us up for one.
They do tee us up for one. Del Close is dead, so unfortunately,
yeah, true.
We can't do that. I don't want you to say it again because I don't want them to make a modern sequel to the Blob.
Okay.
Because
shut up.
And manifesting that is negative, I think.
Dangerous.
Yeah. Remember we talked about Shock 'em Dead, Blood and Bone?
Yeah.
Like, we don't need the Blob 2. Blob and
Knobs.
Can we talk briefly about the fake slasher?
The fake slasher?
Yeah, the movie that they go and see. The Garden Massacre.
Course. Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's great. I was watching that scene and I was like, Sam would love this movie.
Yep, I would. I would.
Someone over there peeping at us, well, let's give him just something to peep at. And then the reveal of the hockey mask. He's like using like a hedge trimmer or whatever, and the reveal of the hockey mask, and the guy's like, wait a minute, hockey season ended months ago.
It's all my favourite stuff. I did kind of wonder if that was real. I needed you to tell me that it's not real. Yeah, okay.
It's not real. I think the writing in this movie is great, and it also, I don't know if there is a lot of sort of Stephen King DNA in this, because Frank Darabont is a big fan of Stephen King and took some of those Kingian elements and put it into this script, or if Stephen King on cinema is so tied up with Frank Darabont that like so much of the stuff that feels Kingian in films is actually part of the Frank Darabont vernacular.
Yeah, it's hard to know where one ends and the other starts without seriously deep inside baseball.
Yeah.
I'd be inclined to think that they're like-minded and artistically similar in a lot of ways, and they're probably responsible for a lot of that zeitgeisty type stuff. Equal measures. I bet it's their fault. They're probably all mates. Do you know what I mean? Like it's no coincidence Jeffrey DeMunn pops up in this and also reads Dreamcatcher.
Yeah,
it's
and is
no
in the
surprise.
Mist.
And is in the Mist, yeah. And Shawshank Redemption. He pops up a lot in a lot of different King properties as well. So there's got to be something there. I feel like that era of filmmaking, there was a kind of shared space for like-minded artists, regardless of what discipline you come from. It was a little bit more like, yeah, we can have musicians, writers, artists, painters, directors. All of us can kind of come together and create stuff and bring our own shit to the table because they're all feeding off each other in a way. It's the same way like the Ramones love Pet Sematary. It's all cool people together doing cool stuff. There's definitely something to be said for that. It's like a little microculture.
All right, why don't we take a break, Sam? In fact, before we take a break, let's take a moment to let's just take a little moment to pay the respect that is owed to our overlords over at Red Scare Industries.
You got to pay the piper, and I recommend doing so at redscare.net. I recently ordered the Broke Downs record from Red Scare.
He's getting it.
I've got it right here. Let's Tip the Landlord by the Broke Downs. Superb record. It came to me via Mexico, which was hilarious. It was shipped from Chicago to Nebraska to somewhere else in Omaha, all the way over to London, then from London to Mexico, then Mexico to Norwich, which is insane, but worth the wait. Superb record. By the way, in case you're wondering, Canada did beat the Czech Republic in overtime very quickly.
Will you give it up, man? Nobody's out there. We're alone. Oh no, there's somebody out there. I'm picking up all this crosstalk.
I'm back, Sam. Are you back, Sam?
Back and ready to wrap this blob up and send it back where it came from.
I love this movie. I think it's. I think there are some rough edges that make it somehow better.
Yeah.
I think I've already said it, but I think it's the perfect example of a video shop movie. It is so good and quick, and it's never boring, and all the performances I think are correct for the movie. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are done off screen by special effects guys. It's magical. It's kind of almost a perfect movie. At least it's definitely perfect for what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder Chuck Russell moved out of genre into sort of mainstream movies relatively quickly after this.
Yeah, a bit of a seal of approval, I imagine. Like, look what I can do with fucking a complete nightmare project. Like, I bet a lot of people said this was doomed. Oh, you're going to remake The Blob and you expect that to give you some Hollywood cachet? Good luck, pal. And look at him now. Eraser, baby.
I wonder if, like, obviously the Kingian stuff that we talked about that appears in this, I wonder if, like, Stephen King saw that and was like, do you know what? I can trust this person. This person obviously has some level of reverence for me and my work. Because
yeah, he gets it. That's the bottom line, right? You watch that and you go, he gets it.
Yeah, this feels like Stephen King could have written it.
Yeah.
It feels like, Cocaine King.
Yeah, definitely.
Dash this off in a night.
Yep.
Or at least like the short story that it is based on. But it isn't based on a Stephen King short story. But you know what I mean?
You're totally right. You've hit the nail on the head. It feels like it's based on a Stephen King short story, which it isn't.
Yeah. And it's great. The deaths are great. There's a scene that I think they forgot to put the blob in the sewer.
Really?
Where the blob's like coming at them in the sewer, but there's no blob there. They're like running away in the sewer. Is the blob meant to be underwater?
Maybe it's around the corner.
But like we see the disturbance in the water, and it's like the rats are disappearing and all that stuff.
Maybe it's around the corner.
But it's, yeah. So I sort of think that maybe they forgot to put the Blob in that scene. And I kind of love it for that.
I love it. Yeah, if it gets through like so many people proof watching it or whatever you call it in film, and then they show it on the big screen, the director's like, oh fuck, they forgot to put the Blob in that scene. I hope no one notices. I love that.
Like, I just think it's really good. And like, we didn't really talk about the
plot.
Yeah,
we talk about any of it. Yeah,
the plot of the movie, the idea that like the lead scientist, army, government guy has such a stonking hard on for the idea of all of these people dying.
Yeah, loves it.
Like, and I know that we're supposed to be with Johnny Drama and like have that inherent distrust of the authority figures because they can believe that he's a murderer just because he doesn't go to the football game or whatever.
Yeah.
It's only like Jeffrey DeMunn's character that's like, come on, mate, he's not a murderer.
Yeah, think about it, boys.
He's just a punk.
Yeah.
They really ladle it on with this lead army guy. He like his first scene is like, ooh, there's a ooh, he. He's like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's great. I love what that character and what that atmosphere and that like body of people brings to the movie. I just think it really takes it to another level. It's great stuff.
It absolutely does. And like you mentioned early on that like we pivot at that point to like basically a different movie with the same leads.
Yeah.
And that just really works. And I think that like that's part of what makes this movie so fantastic is it's kind of like a pasta shape. It's like you start off over here, then you zigzag that way, and then you zigzag this way, and then you're over there. And it's like, I love pasta. And I love this movie.
You're hungry.
So I think this is great. I love how punk it is and how the message of the movie is maybe you should like just, maybe we'd all be a little bit better off if we had a bit less trust for authority.
Yeah. Yeah, never trust like the government or vaccinations or like, you know, science or anything. Like, just don't. That's the message of the Blob.
Yeah, don't trust science. Do your own research.
You've got Facebook. Do your own research.
Yeah. By do your own research, what I mean by that is read other people's read people who you think might be right, unsubstantiated claims.
Yeah.
And then pass off those beliefs as your own.
Yeah, don't even like paraphrase them, just repeat them. And also, I love that The Blob is the movie that finally radicalized Jamie to the American right. Perfect. So come on, Jamie, what do you rate The Blob?
Okay, The Blob. It's a top spot for me. It's a 15 out of 15 mutilated children.
Cool, that's a lot of mutilated kiddos.
Yeah. I can't find anything wrong with a film that kills kids so meanly and gleefully, but the cat gets away. Like, I love it.
Yeah, that nails it.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm inclined to wholeheartedly agree. I think, especially given the odds of this movie being shite, I think it does an incredible job in every regard. Everything we've already talked about. I'm gonna give it 9.5 melted amalgamations of men because out of 10, because I just think there is like the tiniest little scope for a tiny little bit more. Do you know what I mean? It's too fucking addictive. The Blob is too good. The deaths are too great. I think it basically does everything it sets out to do, which for me makes it a massive success. I would just love even more Blob.
You want it to be just a touch blobbier?
If anything, I want to walk away and be like, fucking hell, that was a bit much Blob. Then it'd be a 10 on 10 for me.
Yeah.
But I think, the same as you, like I really struggle to articulate what I think would make this movie better. There's just maybe there's always room for Jello. Maybe there's always room for a little bit more Blob. Yeah. I just I've really got very little negative to say about this film because it sets out its stall and fucking does what it says it's gonna, and that to me makes it an artistic success. I really enjoy it. It's got bags of rewatch value. The gore effects are among the best I think we've seen on the Final Transmission podcast. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of things it does that it really has no right to do so well, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think if there's one criticism that I have about the special effects is that, and it's maybe with more the blob design, is that it has these sort of tendrils rather than like drippy bits of blob. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, tendrils are a tough sell from a blob, but I quite like it because it's like you said, it kind of references the Thing a little bit for me. Like I don't expect those whippy, ribbony tendrils out of the Thing, but there they are. And I think when you're dealing with something ostensibly that's otherworldly, I like when you mix media. Do you know what I mean? Like it's gooey, but it's hard, or it's sharp, but it's slow, or like whatever kind of juxtaposition you're using to make me feel uneasy about something from another dimension or another planet is really fun. Yeah, it's a bit of a smash hit, this one.
It is. It's brighter than the sun. It's a bit of a smash hit. The last thing I'll say is it sort of sets up that like the government are bad, also religion is bad. That's kind of like the little nugget at the end, and I agree.
Well, it does both excellently, and that's the social commentary we're talking about. It's doing what was started by the original movies and the original horror movies of that era, which is saying, look, question all of these things. Maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe this is the thing that's bad, and you're being lied to. That's the subversion of those kind of horror movies, and all of those movements have kind of led us to a point of artistic freedom in the late 80s where you can just say it and then melt a cop. And that's lovely.
Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed the Blob.
Always love any and all blobs. Send me your blobs, I would say.
If you want to send us your blobs, you can do that over at Patreon.
At Sam Russo Music. Send me your blobs.
Yeah, follow Sam on Instagram at Sam Russo Music. Follow me on Instagram at Carruthers. Follow our podcast, the Final Transmission podcast, this one that you're listening to right now, over on your social media platform of choice, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, at FT Horror Show. If you want to support us, you can do so by chucking us some quids over at patreon.com/Final Transmission. If you want to support us but without putting your hand in your pocket, you tight arse, you can do that by rating, reviewing, making sure you're following wherever you're listening to this, and making sure you have automatic downloads turned on if that's a thing on that platform.
Yeah, go to Cameo and get one from Jamie. He's on Cameo.
Should I don't. I'm not on Cameo.
Maybe you should be.
Maybe I should be. Maybe, but I don't want to be like all those fucking Nigel Farage cameos where they're like sending love to Ian Watkins up the raw, like
both in one. Can you imagine? So yeah, you should follow us on all those platforms, do all those things, chuck us your quids, go to redscare.net, and above all else, live your life, because there may or may not be a blob on the horizon.
Yeah, live your life free of tyranny from the government, governed only by what you read on Facebook. And we'll see you next week for another Final Transmission. Say goodbye, Sam.
Goodbye, Sam.